What I'll be talking today is about software-defined video, this new paradigm that Elemental has slowly been building to over the past 5 years since we launched our initial products. But first, I want to talk about the future of video and how we see it evolving. If you look at legacy devices, the way video has been delivered for the past 50 years, 60 years, you really had a single device that was consuming content. And what this meant was video experiences were very provider-centric. So the way Comcast or your broadcaster wanted to deliver you content and when they wanted to deliver you content was completely deterministic. It was a provider-centric experience where consumers really didn't have that much choice. Today, and the future, is an experience that's very consumer-centric, where consumers have complete control of the experience, a viewer-centric experience. They're able to watch content on any device, over any network, at any time, and any piece of content. So it's a really completely different paradigm, and that's the paradigm that Elemental has been building technology for. Today is really the consummation of the past 7 years of software development at Elemental, where we talk about a whole new category that we're defining called software-defined video. And I want to talk about what that means, what that term means. We believe that software is at a unique inflection point. If you look at the history and the codecs that have evolved over the years, there's really a new codec standard roughly every decade. In the 90s, it was MPEG-2, delivering content to televisions and set-top boxes. And if you look at the scale, the number of devices that MPEG-2 supported, it was roughly in the low hundreds of millions in terms of televisions supported, set-top boxes supported. Moving forward to the aughts, 2002 and beyond, H.264 comes around. There's a lot more devices that support H.264, whether they're PCs, Roku boxes, Xbox, PlayStation, mobile devices, iPads, tablets. There's now 1 billion devices that can play video. And so software starts to take over a little more of that because you need to evolve to keep up with all those devices. And by the way, Intel and NVIDIA have been leveraging Moore's Law, and the processors are getting faster and faster and faster. Well, today we're at the dawn of a new codec change, which of course is HEVC, or H.265. And looking at our partner Ericsson's numbers, the expectation is that there's going to be 15 billion mobile devices that can consume video in the next 5 years. 50 billion IP devices connected out there, 15 billion of them will have mobile capabilities. And you have this consistent drumbeat of increase in performance of computational underlying architectures. So what this means is that software-based processing of video, which started off as being a very tiny percentage of any video processing done because it wasn't fast enough for any linear processing, it only could be done for VOD, is hitting an inflection point where you have the underlying performance of fast architectures with the requirement for being able to evolve very rapidly to support all these devices. And our belief at Elemental is that software architectures are going to start to steadily dominate the video infrastructure market. Now, it's not going to happen all at once. It's going to take some time. There's still going to be requirements for really world-class hardware architectures, and we've partnered with Ericsson because we believe they have the world's best hardware implementation. But over time, software is going to become a larger and larger percentage of the video processing infrastructure around the world. So what Elemental has done is really taken an IT-centric approach to building video processing. And if you look at 3 key trends of IT overall, Elemental has really aligned ourselves with those trends because we believe those are the future. Legacy distribution platforms, whether it's dedicated coax cable, dedicated managed services IPTV, or over-the-air broadcast or satellite, are going to transition to being 100% IP-based infrastructures. Hardware-based platforms with specialized appliances are going to transition to software-based appliances, virtualized appliances, and cloud-based processing. And consumer behavior, consumer consumption, is moving from tethered infrastructure, where you watch the big screen television plugged in your living room cable, to one where you consume content anytime, anywhere, on whatever device happens to be the most handy. So these 3 major trends are where Elemental is focusing on. We want to be at the center of those trends because we believe that is where the future is leading. So what does software-defined video mean, and what does our platform actually look like? Of course, it consists of the products that we've built over the past several years. But what it means is we take standard commodity off-the-shelf architectures like Intel CPUs and NVIDIA GPUs, and we enable software on those devices that can be deployed across any type of infrastructure. So you can deploy it as an Elemental appliance. You can deploy it as a virtual machine. You can deploy it on a public cloud or private cloud. And you can run in any multitude of these devices. You can also share resources. So if you have a 24/7 type of workflow, you probably want to run that on dedicated appliances or dedicated hardware, because that 24/7 is cost optimized if you have a 100% dedicated in-house solution. If you have something that you only need to run a couple times a day, for example, the BBC workflow, they do news 3 times a day. They spin up a bunch of instances 3 times a day, then spin them back down. Or if you have a library transcode that you want to do, where you're going to take your entire library, convert it to HEVC, and then go on with your daily work, you want to do that all in the cloud and spin up 100 cloud instances for a couple weeks to make it happen. We enable workflows that seamlessly work in a hybrid way between on-premise appliances and cloud and virtual experiences. So what this means is we now have complete support for virtualized and blade infrastructures. This enables our customers to leverage both serial and parallel processing, the CPU as well as the GPU. It means they can deploy on dedicated appliances as well as virtual resources. It means they can optimize their workflow across on-premise as well as cloud deployments. It means they can reuse existing infrastructure. We actually have several customers now that are taking appliances that are just x86 appliances that they've bought from competitors, installing Elemental virtual software on those appliances, and essentially redeploying them for Elemental-powered workflows. It's a pretty interesting application. And maximizing cloud infrastructure coverage. So anything that you can do on-premise, you can now do in the cloud, and you can seamlessly switch between the two of them to economically optimize your workflow. So it's really a new paradigm for video processing, enabled by the fact that underlying architectures are incredibly fast now, and driven by the fact that consumer demands are changing so rapidly.